So I want to talk about Frieren Joiurney and because, oh my god, oh my god. So I've been keeping up with this series since last February. I started the manga, I fell in love with it, like bought volume one. Next day I bought the rest of them. Like, I fucking love the series. And reading this manga, I had a feeling that if they had a good studio and a good team, that this would do well. And honestly, the anime had exceeded my expectations. One of my favorite things about Frieren is the overarching premise of the story, and that is understanding life and perspective from others. Because that is one of Frieren's big issues when she's traveling with her first adventuring party, because 10 years for humans and even dwarves is a decent amount of time. But to elves whose lifespan almost never ends, it's a blink of an eye. It's a literal breath. And the way you go about your entire life is based on that kind of perspective of time. And it wasn't until, which spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched the series yet, spoilers, 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 when Himmel dies, that's where she kind of hits her. Like, yes, 10 years to me is nothing, but to him, when he died, I think like in his 80s or so, like that's a lot of time. That is a lot of time, and I didn't even really know him that well. Or at least she thinks she didn't know him that well. That's another topic for another time. And we see her traveling with her new party with Stark and Fern, how she is approaching it in a different way, in a way similar to how Himmel, Hyther, and Eisen would have approached life. Like one of the big things is how significant she takes Fern's birthday. How no matter what it is, she always makes sure to get her something for her birthday. And even with Stark for his birthday, making his favorite food. And doing this new adventure is helping her not only understanding humans and others better, but it's also helping her understand herself better as well. And it's just so great, like especially watching them visit places that she went with her original party. Because one of the things that, like I said before, how she's approaching things in a similar way to how her party members from her first party would do it. Like it's almost like a what would Himmel do type thing. Like, and it's so fucking great. And another thing about the overarching premise of the story, I feel like it also is nice because it applies so much to our real lives. Because listen, I'm a black man in America. My experience is very different than a black woman in America, or a white woman in America, or a white man, or a Hispanic like man or woman. Like my perspective is very different, and taking that time in my life to understand life from their perspective, like helps me not only care about that person, love that person, and like grow in a relationship with that person, but it helps me understand the world better as well. And it's a similar thing with Frieren in this story. Now I know I talked a lot about the story, but let's just talk about like the actual anime itself. So as you all know, it released with 4 episodes, which I love Frieren, but the way it starts off, it definitely needed to release those 4 episodes at the same time because as much as this hurts me, but I know it's true. If they only released 1 episode, I don't think as many people would have gotten into it. Some people would have because it's a good story, but it definitely needed them 4 episodes to come out. Animation has been gorgeous, especially when we're watching the first class mage exam. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, fucking love that shit. But even talking about in terms of animation, like, I love how they do even some of the smallest moments, like the dance scene with Fern and Stark. Like, how they really took that time to like show like how Fern's like dress and hair moves as she's being twirled around, and like that whole dance sequence was fan fucking tastic. So animation was also fantastic. Now let's talk about the fucking music, cause what? The music composer for Frieren was Evan Call, which if you recognize that name, he did the music for Violet Evergarden, which I never watched Violet Evergarden, but I did listen to the soundtrack, and oh my god, that music is fantastic and definitely makes me want to watch Violet Evergarden so much. But yeah, fan fucking tastic. The music worked so well with each scene. Like everything just tied together in such a beautiful way, and it was so smooth. Loved it. Now, when it comes to characters, I love so many characters. Like I love Frieren, I love Fern, I love Stark, I love Siri. Oh my gosh, Siri is fantastic. I will say my favorite character hasn't shown up yet in the anime. He's gonna be in season 2 though, but I can't wait for y'all to meet him because chef's kiss. But overall, like, the anime has truly exceeded my expectations. Like I said, I knew it was going to be good. Like, I had a feeling no one was going to tell me it wasn't going to be good. Like, I knew it when I read the story. But I was not expecting for it to be as good as it was. And, like, I was even a little worried at first because, like, at least, like, on my page, like, the only Frieren content I ever saw was, like, the content I would make and the few mutuals that I know that read the manga. And then I started seeing more content everywhere, especially on Twitter. Oh my god, like Frieren content on Twitter, fucking love it. But I love how like people are really enjoying the series and like it's getting talked about, like having all these discussions. People are like looking at some like the deeper meanings and concepts, which there's a fuck ton of them, which might make some videos talking about that, exploring those in like greater detail. But Frieren is truly an amazing show, and like I know some people are gonna say it's overhyped, which if that's your opinion, that's fine. Like things can be overhyped. Like doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like honestly, overhype is just I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like you just really enjoy something. So like it's gonna see overhyped as someone that doesn't enjoy it as much. Like it's just it. Like you just have things that you're passionate about, and that's fine. So if you think it's overhyped, that's fine. But I think this story is beautiful. I think the anime did a great job, like portraying the story from the manga, and like I'm, in some ways, I'm enjoying the, like how the anime has done it a little over the manga, like at least for these 60 chapters that we've seen. Oh yeah, that's another thing. If you want to pick up the manga, like it was the end of chapter like 60, so you'll read 61 up to the latest chapter, which is 127. 128 should come out in the next few weeks because it took a 1 month break. But yeah, I love this anime. Great job. It's probably like in my top 10 now. Like, and I know some people will say recency bias, but you know what you can also go do? You can go fuck yourself in case you haven't done that. Um, but yeah, like, fantastic anime. Definitely recommend the manga to anyone that's interested. Like, this series is great, and I love that people are getting into it. And if you haven't checked it out, please check out Frieren Beyond Journey's End.